You are Locked On Astros POSTCAST, part of Locked On Sports Houston on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Are the Houston Astros officially back? That is the question tonight as they have finished off a sweep of the Oakland A's and the first team maybe all season to make the Oakland A's look like the team that they're supposed to be, one of the worst in Major League Baseball. What a great start to the week. What a great start to the 10-game homestand for the Houston Astros. Everything that they needed in the worst way possible to come home and beat up on a team that they beat up on for years. They do that once again, and they do it in very fun fashion tonight as they get the 8-1 victory over those Oakland Athletics. Welcome into the Locked On Astros postcast. Michael Connor here with you again tonight, as we always are, live on YouTube. Thank you for joining us. If you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button. If you're watching this later, go ahead and hit subscribe. Tell people all about it. You can find this show anywhere that you get your podcast. Search for the Locked On Astros podcast. Again, anywhere that you get them, and you will find this show in the Locked On Astros show as well. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. So this series was awesome. And I got to say, it is way better coming on to do these shows feeling good about things. I mean, are there nitpicky things that I'd like to, get into and not be, that I'm not all that happy with that I'd like to see better? Like, yeah. Would I like to see Jose Altuve get a little bit out of his funk that he's been in? Yep. Would I like to see Yordan Alvarez get out of whatever he's in this season? Yep, absolutely. But you know what? I'm not complaining tonight. They're now 19-25, 6 games under 500. You know what? At this point, might as well just go ahead and win out the rest of this homestand. Why not? Get back to 500. I think it's a good idea. I hope they're listening right now. I hope that they're walking into the clubhouse. They're putting this show on the TV, the multiple TVs they have in the clubhouse, and they're going, you know what? He's right. That Michael Connor guy's right. We should win the next 6 and get back to 500. But I do want to ask you guys that question tonight. You can post them in the comments. Is this the closest feeling of them being back as you've had this season? I think it definitely is. And it happens because offensively, you get a bunch of good stuff tonight out of a lot of guys. First of all, we have to give the credit to, or give the love here to Joey Loperfido, which if you follow me on X, you will have seen that I typed his name out as Joey Loperfido. Look, my wife and I watched the game tonight. Had a bottle of wine on the couch. Don't type and have a bottle of wine. That's the lesson on your iPhone tonight. Unless you want to, just spell everything wrong, which I did there. But he hits his first career home run, and that is such a good feeling for him. It's going to it's going to raise a lot of questions. He's hit well since he's been here. He's hit over 300. Power hadn't been there, obviously, compared to what it was in the minor leagues. He was playing in the Pacific Coast League, where the ball does fly a lot. They play games at Albuquerque, El Paso. I mean, even Sugar Land seems to be a little bit of a launching pad. Just that league in general. Guys hit the ball out of the ballpark. But he hit 13 home runs, which was more than anybody else out there. So it has to feel good to get the first one out of the way, of course. But he's hit since he's been here. And there is the looming Chas McCormick coming back. And look, Loperfido's played his way into he needs to play every day. Until he gives you a reason to not play him, why wouldn't he play? Now, I know matchups are probably, you're going to be more sensitive to matchups when it comes to a rookie hitter like Loperfido. So if there's going to be a lefty one day, you know that you're not going to see him. But, I mean, honestly, what has Chas McCormick done this season when he's played to deserve coming back in and playing immediately? We all love Chas. We all want to see Chas coming back, but should he play even right now over Jake Myers? Jake Myers has been on one for the last week. Of course, everything that goes up will come down as well. He'll find his way back to a struggle at some point, I'm sure. But he's played really, really good baseball for this team. And if that continues to happen, I mean, look, how do you justify knocking a guy out of his playing time? I don't know. I really don't know. And that's something for Joe Espada to worry about when he gets there. What he has to worry about right now is that his baseball team's finally looking like a baseball team. And it's crazy how basically a week difference can make it in this sport. And that's, even for me, I have to remind myself, I know that I come on here and you guys watch and, listen and whatever. And I appreciate that you value, I guess, my opinion on baseball. It's something that I've studied my entire life and watched my entire life. And of course, like everybody else, you play for as long as you can. It's a weird sport though. And I've always said that baseball can be baseball. And it sounds, that's like a Yogi Berraism to an extent, like baseball will do baseball. 1 week, you're the worst team in the league, and you have me sitting here questioning everything about your franchise and how you've built it and this, that, and the other. And then the next week, you slowly start to get some health situations right in certain areas. And then all of a sudden, you are going to feel a lot better about what's going on with your team. And your team is playing better baseball. And when they play better baseball like this, the results show up, and they don't make the people inside the organization look as crazy for their belief and the things they say out loud that, oh my goodness, we're close. We're this team. We're going to figure it out. Because right now they look like that team. Simple as that. And again, it does help that they get to a portion of the schedule here. Oakland, bad teams do that, though. We've talked about that. Bad teams go on runs. Bad teams play above their heads. And Oakland was one of those teams. They played above their heads. That's okay. You do that at some point. And it might just coincide that the timing of the schedule comes right to where you need it, to where they're going to start going on the down, and you are on your way up, and you just smack them around for 4 games, and you get an easy sweep. The first real sweep, by the way, of the season. The first. The Rockies series doesn't count. I know that technically it'll count, but that doesn't count. It's a 2-game series. I'll never count a 2-game series. It has to be 3 or 4, period. Now, I shouldn't say never. If the Astros play in the wild card round, the best of 3, and they have to, or they go and sweep a best of 3-game series, then that's technically a sweep. But a regular season one, nah. 2-game series don't count for me. 3 and 4 only. It's a half sweep, basically. This is a real sweep. And it has them in a position, and you can see it. I mean, look at the goofy stuff before the game tonight. All the players on the field out there doing their thing. Bregman got them their headbands. Bregman, by the way, 2 more hits tonight. It's funny how when your guys get going, your big guys get going, you get going right. Just begin to be nice to have Yordan Alvarez join the mix. He's not joined the mix really in quite some time for this team. So that's as simple as it gets. But it's one of those things that you get guys going right. You start having fun. They're having fun again. And then the results follow. That's what we're seeing out of this baseball team right now. And it is a great, great thing to see. And they've got a homestand still in front of them where they've played pretty decent baseball lately at Minute Maid Park. They got a homestand still sitting there with 6 games on it where you can feast and get yourself close to that 500 number. And you could actually, by the end of this month of May, which today is the 16th, maybe they're hovering around 500. Maybe they're at 500. Maybe they even get above it before the end of the month. And I just say that out loud. Me, the guy who a few days ago was telling you they're not going to make the postseason. Again, it's baseball. Baseball does baseball. And they're in a division, like we've talked about often, that is not very good in the American League West. The Astros with the win tonight, 19-25. They move into 3rd place in the American League West, and they are now 5 games out of the division lead. 5 games out at 19-25. Mariners are 24-20 leading the way. Rangers at 23-22. Both those teams tonight, by the way, were idle. It's a very light schedule in Major League Baseball tonight. There was only, 5 other games today in baseball, and there's just one going now. So Astros, though, taking care of business. Awesome. Everything that you need. Are they officially back? Well, they could be. And a guy tonight on the mound made it look like he's back as well. We'll discuss him as well as are they back? Can you believe that they are back? We'll do that in just a brief moment. But first, let me tell you about the Gametime app. That's right, Gametime. Playoffs going on in the NBA. Maybe you're in a market where you could go see an NBA game. Here in Houston, we don't have that right now. If you've never been to an NBA playoff game, it is a lot of fun. But maybe you're going somewhere where there's NBA playoff games going on. You want to get in on the action. Well, Gametime, right there for you. Great app to get yourself last-minute deals, all prices. You can view your seats. Lowest price guarantee. The Gametime app has it. Browse through that app, of course, and go see what they have available for you. It's not just about those games, of course. It's also about those big-time events, all available with the Gametime app. Last-minute deals, MLB tickets, whatever it might be, they have it right there. So take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Locked on Astros postcast tonight, celebrating an Astros victory, baby. An Astros sweep of the Oakland Athletics, and it does not get any better than that. 4-game sweep. On top of that, they got a 4-game sweep, not just a 3-game sweep, a 4-game sweep of Oakland. Feels good to have that. Of course, again, welcome to the show. If you're new to the show, please hit the subscribe button on YouTube. Spread it around. Go send the link to a bunch of people after this show ends. Get them to hit subscribe. I appreciate it. And you can find this show on podcast anywhere that you search for your podcast. Just search for Locked on Astros, and that's where you'll find it. And don't forget as well, we won't just do these Astros shows. This is not just an Astros channel. When the Texans return, we're going to have Locked on Texans postcast, which look like those will be a lot of fun because they're going to be good. And we know the schedule now. They've got 6 nationally televised games because the NFL looked at them and said, hey, you know what? They're going to be pretty good. I will say we probably won't have one Locked on postcast for the Texans this year. I am planning to go to Cowboys and Texans in Arlington with some friends. So that one we might be out on because I'll be having a good time at the game that night. But you never know. That's not for sure. We'll see what happens when it gets there. We have a lot of Astros postcasts left to do. And again, we're not just the Astros, not just the Texans, Rockets, and Cougs as well if you're new to the channel, but also the Astros this season. It's only May the 15th. Strap in, boys, girls. We got a long season ahead of us. And that long season ahead of us feels a lot better today. Feels like you could be going through a summer of happiness instead of a summer of just downright is what we were feeling. I mean, like, honestly, I was sitting here looking at this schedule recently and going, it's going to be a brutal summer for me. You know, it's been a while since I've been on post-game shows. Last time I did them was last August. We started a couple of weeks into the season with this, which I'm grateful for this opportunity with Locked On. But I dive right back into it, and the team stinks. And it's going to be a long 100-plus games of just talking about bad stuff. And right now, they have me, like I said, they chip away at me every single day. And I am curious, do you feel like it today? Are they back? You can send it in the comments. 19-25 does feel amazing, which is great. And thank you to Mr. Page there. I see your comment. I didn't look at the Mariners schedule for the Astros, which has been official, by the way. They apparently have the Yankees and the Orioles for the next 6 games. That helps. Astros go undefeated in the next 6 at home against the Brewers. And who's that at the Brewers? I should know this off the top of my head. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Angels. That's right. We talked about that last night. You got to sweep the Angels. But I do feel that this is the kind of first thing that's like really starting to chip away at me of being like, okay, they might be back. They might be back to their brand of baseball. Is it perfect? No. Do I expect them to be perfect anytime soon? Of course not. It's baseball. You're going to stink way more than half the time that you go up there at the plate, whatever it might be. But, today I am the most optimistic, and what a coincidence. They win, 5 games in a row, and I'm the most optimistic I've ever been of this season. I mean, look, it's the longest winning streak they've had of the year. Shocking. My optimism is at an all-time high for the 2024 Astros, outside of opening day when I thought, hey, you know what? I'm optimistic about this season. I'm not going to give you their back yet. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to wait a couple of days, okay? If they push this streak to, let's say 9 games. If they get to 9 games, and yeah, my standard's high here. They get to 9 games, I'll come on this show and say they're back. And I will apologize for saying what I said a couple of weeks ago, or a week ago, whenever it was, saying that they're not going to make the postseason. I will apologize. I won't guarantee that isn't still going to happen. I won't guarantee that they will make it. I'm out of the guarantee business. When I left radio, the Michael Connor guarantees have gone away. If you listened to the last show I was on with Josh Beard, you know about the guarantees. Guarantees were a real thing, and I love them. I'm thinking about bringing back the horoscopes, though. I'm not going to lie about that. We all need some horoscopes in our life. But I do think, which, by the way, I'm sorry, for those of you that do know, that listened to me when I was on that last station that I was on before, we walked in and they said, hey, we're cutting budgets and money everywhere. You got to go. But we did the horoscopes during the postseason last year, and it was working there for a brief second. MLB TV's ripped off our idea. They run horoscopes for players as promos. I mean, just what a crock. I'm genuinely upset about it that I'm not getting any money for it. That was my idea. That was Josh's idea. We should be getting paid for this. Simple as that. But this team they're starting to win me over slowly. And it can happen when Christian Javier goes out there and pitches like he did tonight. He needed that in the worst way. 6 innings, 2 hits. They cut him off at 80 pitches, which, fine. You're up that big. No reason for him to keep going out there. Had a little bit of trouble in that 6th inning. But his stuff looked great. His fastball came out faster in the 1st inning than it did in his start in Detroit. So you know what? I feel a lot better about where they're at. I feel a lot better about where he's at. And again, all of this leads back to if they get the performance out of the starting staff that they expect, whether it's, right now they're in the 6th man, but I'm going to say, Verlander, Fromber, Verlander, whatever order you want to do it, Javier, Ronel Blanco is your 4 guys that you're locked in on, right? Those guys perform at the levels that they can perform at. You're going to win most times that you send those guys out. Hunter Brown will go tomorrow. I don't know really what to think about Hunter Brown. I'm not going to lie to you. I think the winning streak, if I was betting on it at this very moment, you bet on it to end tomorrow because Hunter Brown's not been very good this season. But it all starts there. We've seen it for years. When they have success, they have pitched in the rotation better than anybody else. The 2022 season, their 2nd World Series title, was the biggest proof of that. They were elite. As elite as it gets at throwing the baseball when it comes to their pitchers that start games. They went deep. They kept their bullpen fresh all year long. They got to the postseason. They did the same thing. And it's going to have a huge effect. Not only that, when the offense gets clicking like it has, it builds leads for these starters. The starters protect the leads longer. And it gives the bullpen situations where they don't have to go out and protect 1 and 2 run leads every night. And there's less stress. There's less pressure. There's all those things that happen. And it's a snowball effect. Like the snowball effect of the bad things early in the season that this team went through. And it just compounded. And it really felt like we as the viewers of this team would never get out of watching it. It just was never going to end. that month of April was the absolute most brutal. I mean, not the most brutal month we've ever seen this team in this era of their history, play. I think still August of 2017 was, I mean, probably the hardest pill to swallow, in part because of what the city was going through at the time with Harvey, which, by the way, I hope all you guys out there watching tonight, or if you're listening to this later, whatever, you're good. Look like everything north side of town tonight, weather-wise, got really, really bad. We're good down here, southwest side. But I know a lot of people don't have power and whatnot. So if you're watching on your phone tonight, again, hope you're good. Hope your house is good, your home, whatever, wherever you're living, everything's all right. Did not look it was great, but I think that 2017 month was still, like, if I had to rank the two, was number one. That April was probably a tough second, or close second, I should say, because you weren't expecting that at all. And it's just like they came out and laid a big fat stink bomb all over the place. I don't know any other way to describe it. And it's patience is a virtue, correct? You had to have a little bit of patience for this baseball team to find a way to rebound. And they're still not out of it. I mean, still not out of it. They're still 6 games under 500. They go out and play Milwaukee and slip up and for some reason drop 3 in a row. Knock on wood that doesn't happen. Then we're back to, is the world ending? I don't think so, but that would be bad. That's why I'm going to keep the optimism level up here and just keep saying they're going to sweep the Brewers. Why not? Why not? If Hunter Brown goes out there tomorrow night and looks good and they win the game, maybe they'll actually sweep the Brewers. The series, by the way, as I mentioned, 7-10 tomorrow night, 6-10 on Saturday. Verlander in that one. And then on Sunday, it's going to be Spencer Arrighetti. So the pitching matchups will not favor the Astros on paper. We don't need paper in this one, guys. This city's not built on paper. It's built on flat ground and bayous. And come down to this house of terror and see if you can come in here and get anything, Milwaukee. We'll talk a little bit about that Milwaukee series here in just a brief second. But I do have to get you one more quick message. And that quick message is for FanDuel. It's winner take all in the NBA and NHL, and FanDuel's giving you a shot to bring home a big win of your own. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 to bet on spreads, money lines, player props, and more. Visit FanDuel.com/locked-on and make every playoff shot count. FanDuel, America's number one sportsbook. All right, our final few minutes of the Locked On Astros postcast tonight. Again, thank you for joining us like you do every single night. I greatly appreciate it. If you're stopping by for the first time, please hit the subscribe button on YouTube. If you're listening to this on podcast later, go search for Locked On Sports Houston on YouTube and go find our page. And when you find that page, hit the subscribe button, share it with whoever you have. We're with you every single night when the Astros get done. I say every single night, almost every single night. There's going to be a schedule conflict here and there. But for the most part, as long as I'm watching the game and I can sit down and do these shows with you guys, we're going to do them every night. I think we've only missed, 2 games? One, I got the stomach bug, whatever that awful night was. And then the other night I had something else that I had committed to prior to this. So since we started this, we only missed 2 games. So I'm not planning on, I haven't looked at my schedule in the next couple of weeks to see if I have anything, but I think we're good. I think we're going to do it all. We will have some late night West Coast baseball soon. So it'll be Astros or Locked On Astros postcast after dark. I mean, way after dark, like midnight. So that's what we're going to be doing very soon. But Brewers series coming up, very important one against a Brewers team that's very good. They were off tonight. They were in Houston enjoying a night of rest. So hopefully they went out and they got a big meal somewhere. I'm hoping like since they never come to Houston anymore, the Brewers, They all went out for a bunch of barbecue somewhere and just like stuffed their faces. And tomorrow they're just going to feel terrible. And they're going to go out there and Hunter Brown's going to pitch the game of his life against them because they are just bloated and they're popping out of their jerseys. Okay, it's not a realistic ask, but still, one can be hopeful, right? Maybe they went to Killins or whatever. I don't know what the big barbecue places are anymore. Sorry, I live that domesticated life out here in the suburbs. I don't go out anywhere anymore. We eat at home, or you just order pizza like we did tonight because we wanted to drink a bottle of wine and watch the Astros. It's a Thursday night, Thirsty Thursday, right? That's what you got to do. But the Brewers series is going to be a tough one. Milwaukee enters this one first in the NL Central, the former division of the Astros, of course. 26-17. And look, on paper, when you stare at the pitching matchups in this series, as I mentioned, favors Milwaukee. Tomorrow night, Hunter Brown, who does not have a win this season and has an ERA at almost 8. Freddie Peralta goes for Milwaukee. He's tough. Saturday, it's Verlander up against Bryce Wilson, who's off to a really good start this season. He's got a sub-3 ERA. And then on Sunday, like I mentioned, Spencer Arrighetti, 1-4. He's been better of late, but ERA is closer to 8 than it is to 7. He's going to go up against Colin Ray, who's off to a good start this season with a 3.45 ERA. So pitching-wise, it's going to be tough. Offense, I think you look at it and you go, they scratch out 3-4 runs a night and they pitch well, then they can go win the baseball game and you'll be pleased. But there's a chance that they have a tough time scoring runs in this series. Hope that's wrong, but when you just go look at the overall numbers, Milwaukee this season has given up a total of 181 runs, which isn't really, it's not very elite, to be honest with you. It's kind of high, but they scored 223, and there's not too many teams that have scored more runs than them. Just off the top of it, it is the Dodgers, who scored 237, the Phillies, who have scored 237. The Phillies, by the way, are just torching the league right now. And that's about it. That's all the teams that have scored more runs than the Brewers this season. So the Astros pitching is going to have to be on its game all weekend long to pull that one off. Simple as that. Of course, we'll be with you tomorrow night when the Astros and Brewers get wrapped up, like we are every night when the Astros get a win or a loss. Thank you for joining us again tonight. Please, again, hit the subscribe button if you're new to the YouTube channel. Find it on podcast. Go search for it. Locked on Astros, anywhere that you get your podcast. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday evening. Talk to you tomorrow night. Friday night fireworks for a good reason. We'll talk about it then here on the Locked on Astros postcast.